Now, I would like to begin my post-game videos with a little something I call the P-Jail segment. Now, in this segment, we're just going to take a look at PJ Washington's primary defensive matchup each night and take a look at how their game played out on offense. Last night, PJ Washington was guarding Lauri Markkanen for the majority of the game. And, Lauri ended the game with 21 points. Okay, not too bad, but oof. 6 for 20 from the field? 1 for 9 from 3? Put him in P-Jail, baby! In all seriousness, I understand that was not just completely from PJ's defense on Markkanen. Markkanen had an off shooting night. Boy howdy, does PJ get it done on that end of the floor. The Dallas Mavericks are now on a 3-game winning streak after their 113-97 win over the Utah Jazz and are now sitting at the 6th seed, only 2 games back from the 4th seed. This means that the Mavs have a very legitimate shot at ending up as the 4th seed this season if all things continue to go to plan. If they keep beating the teams that they should beat in these last 12-game stretch, Mavs could easily see themselves as the actual 4th seed going into the playoffs, and that just completely changes everything I was thinking about going into the playoffs this season. But anyways, I'm not exactly sure what the Mavs need a new nickname, okay? And it can't be Lob City, no matter how much we want it to be, because that has already been taken. But wow, they are throwing down so many dunks with the Gafford and PJ additions. I mean, DJJ and Lively already had Mavs fans going this season with just emphatic dunks, emphatic lobs, absolutely beautiful. Wow, Mavs fans were already impressed with the highlight finishes we were getting earlier in the season, just because this is not something we're used to seeing on a nightly basis. It's just throw all of that out the window. This is the best dunking team in the league now, and I don't think it's close. Now let's talk about Gafford finishing with 5 assists. Holy mother of Shih Tzu puppies. This guy had a great game. 24 and 7 on top of that. Just some fantastic reads from Gafford this game. It's just so nice having multiple big men who can all offer versatility on the offensive end, playmaking, finishing, offensive rebounds. We could ask for, some more shooting from that position, but at this point, the Mavericks are winning games while shooting 30% or less pretty much every single night from 3. They're still winning games, so who needs 3-point shooters? Am I right? That was a near triple-double for Luka and an absolutely emphatic slam from Kyrie Irving. Can we talk about the Luka attempt to throw down a lob and was fouled by Taylor Hendricks, I think? But can we talk about what the atmosphere would have been like if Luka threw down that lob? I was already flipping out that whole into the game with some of those highlights, and I don't know what I would have done if Luka threw down that lob. Now, another player that I'd like to highlight, especially from his limited minutes in this game, is definitely Jaden Hardy. His playmaking has been on a completely different level than I ever thought it could be. Watching Summer League in the beginning of this season, I'd pretty much lost a lot of my hype around Hardy, even though I still loved Hardy. It's just, small guard that can only score and has nothing else to bring to the table that's kind of a thing of the past now. Kind of have to have at least defense or playmaking or offer some sort of other skill. And what Hardy has been doing in several of his limited showings since the start of the new year as a passer is extremely promising. Where before in the pick and roll, he may have had several impressive finishes around the rim, but when the shot wasn't there, it was likely to lead to a turnover because he just wasn't making a read out of it. He just went up full head of steam, straight at the basket. I'm going to finish over you no matter what. And in the NBA, sometimes that doesn't play out too well, especially when you're only about 6'2". But now when Hardy has the ball in his hands, he is actively looking for the right pass. He's also looking to score in the flow of the offense much more than he was before. He's been taking a lot less Tim shots, as I like to call them. I absolutely love the 5 assists in 17 minutes from Jaden Hardy, only 1 turnover. He's really growing into that lead bench guard role, and I really hope we can get to see a couple more minutes from him in this last stretch of games, because at this point, the argument supporting getting Tim back in rhythm is starting to fade. His only skill is scoring, and that does not include ball handling or playmaking of any significant standard. Hardy now has the ability to put the ball on the floor, score in traffic, shoot well from three, on or off the dribble, and hit the roll man for an easy two. I mean, a few games ago, Hardy came in and was just absolutely slinging dimes left and right, and I was so confused on what was happening, but I was loving it. And that's just not something that Tim's really ever going to be able to offer, sadly. With his ability to catch fire seemingly at any point and take absolutely ridiculous shots and keep making them, it would be really nice if Tim had at least another skill to fall back on when his shot's not falling, just so we could get something out of him in these games where his shot's just absolutely not there. But I really think Hardy has those skills to offer. And now on the defensive end, either way, you're not going to get much out of either of those guys. But at this point in the season, this isn't even just me wanting Kid to play the young guy. It's just I think he's probably the better option at this point, and we need to at least try it. And last night he tried it, and Hardy played really well in his 17 minutes. Exum and Hardy off the bench, especially with Josh Green out, is most definitely a duo that has my approval. Now going forward, to finish out the season, the Mavs have a 3-day break and they go straight into a back-to-back situation with the Jazz and Kings. The first game should go similar to the last against the Jazz if everyone stays locked in, I'm hoping. Now the game against the Kings, I really have no clue what to expect because both of these teams are just teams that love to randomly have insane nights and have very bad nights one after the other. And on the second night of a back-to-back, the Kings run and gun style has given the Mavs problems in the past, and you just really don't know what you're gonna expect from that matchup. And then the game against the Kings on Friday, I have a lot more confidence in, just with how the Mavs have been playing in general recently and how the Kings have been playing lately. Kings have had some good wins, but they've also had some really bad losses. I just have a little bit more confidence in the Mavs against the Kings on Friday game. And, the Kings have had a little bit of an easier schedule coming in to the last stretch of games and have performed fairly inconsistently. And the Mavs have too, but they've also had a lot more impressive wins in that stretch, in my opinion. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. With the Magic and the Wizards both doing us a solid last night, that really puts the Mavs in a good spot going forward, especially with the ease of schedule in these last 12 games. The Mavs have a legitimate shot at making it up to that 4 spot, and I'm just really excited to see how the rest of the season plays out, because if the Mavs make the 4 spot, is there really an argument against Luka for MVP with his statistical advantage on the other guys? I understand narrative and how good Jokic has been, how good Shea has been, but that's a big gap, big statistical gap between those guys. Efficiency, overall scoring, assists, rebounds, steals. This guy's got it all. I know I might be a little biased because I'm a Mavs fan, but I just, Luka, if the Mavs are in the 4 spot, Luka just kind of has to have the MVP, right? I don't know. Anyways, see y'all again soon.